time with all three looks. I'm starting the look with P.Louise base, and with this look I'm starting with the shade Pecan, which is a deep brown shade with some red undertones. Then I'm using the shade Cinnamon, which is a warm brown shade, and applying it to the center parts of the crease. Then I'm using Spiced Coral, which is a kind of neon medium orange shade, and apply it to the inner part of the crease. And then I'm applying Zest, which is a mustardy yellow shade, and apply it to blend out the previous orange shade. Then I'm using Pretty Peachy, which is a yellow shade, to blend out the previous mustard shade. I'm using Fawn, which is a lighter warm brown, to blend out the cinnamon shade. And then I'm using Fuego, which is a kind of reddish purple shade, to blend out the previous reddish brown shade. Then I'm using Fawn, which is a kind of deep pink with a little bit of brown kind of shade, to blend out the red and purple shade. And I'm cutting the crease, creating kind of like a half cut crease, and use Fuego to merge between the cut crease and the matte. And then I'm using Pecan, which is a deep brown shade, to deepen out the crease. And then I'm using Pinup, which is a deep reddish copper shade, and apply it to the outer parts of the lid. And then I'm using Brass, which is, as the name suggests, a brass shade, and apply it to the middle part of the lid. Finally, I'm applying Honey, which is a gold shade, applying it to the inner part of the lid and the inner corners. Using Fuego again to blend between the shimmers and the mattes, and using Fall to blend out the outer parts of the lower outer corners. Using Fuego to connect between the outer corners and the lower lash line. Use Spiced Coral to apply to the inner parts of the lower lash line. Then use Pretty Peachy to blend out the orange shade. Use the glitter liner, which is a golden glitter liner, and apply it to the edges of the cut crease and to the brow bone to create more definition. Apply lashes, and this look is complete. Then we're looking at the second look. I'm applying Chestnut, which is a cool tone deep brown shade, to the inner parts and the outer parts, and connecting to and the middle. Then I'm applying Dusty Rose, as the name suggests, a dusty rose shade in the inner parts of the crease, and applying Bon Bon to blend out the previous Dusty Rose shade. Then I'm applying Dusk, which is a warmer kind of medium brown, and apply to the outer parts of the crease, and blending it out with Pampas, which is a kind of peachy shade. Then I'm using P.Louise base in 01, creating a halo cut crease in the middle of the lid, and then using Chestnut to blend between the cut crease part and the matte part. Then I'm using Siren, which is a very deep jewel tone kind of shimmer, and then apply Elixir to the inner part of the lid. Finally, at the innermost part, I'm applying Oyster, which is a kind of pearl kind of shade with a little bit of pink to purple undertones. Blending it between the brow bone and the mattes. Then I'm applying Chestnut to the entire lower lash line. Then using Bon Bon and Pampas, which are the shades I used in the outer part of the crease, and applying it in accordance to the upper crease, and I'm applying it to the lower lash line. And then I'm applying Oyster to the middle part of the lower lash line and to the inner corners. Then I'm applying lashes, and the first two looks are complete. Finally, let's look at the look number 3. The look number 3 is a little bit colorful, I'm first using Mystic, which is a very deep, kind of like a black shade. Then I'm using Antidote, which is a kind of foresty, blackish green. Then I'm using Sable, which is a medium green shade to blend out the previous shade. But I'm not really that focused on blending. Finally, I'm using Moss, which is a kind of almost a neon, kind of grass green, neon-y kind of green, to do an excessive amount of blending. Then I'm using Mystic, creating kind of V shade at the outer V of the lid. Similar to the inner V, I'm using the Antidote shade and extending it to the lower lash line. Then I'm using the shade Clover, which is a lighter green. Also extending it to the lower lash line. Finally, I'm using Moss again to blend it out. This way we have an outer V and an inner V, and creating a blank space in the middle. Then I'm using Blank Canvas, which is an eye paint by P.Louise, and creating a little bit like a cut crease, but not really, in the middle of the eyelid. Then I'm using Nectar, which is the deep green shade, and applying it to the lid to create another V shade, and blending it out with Clover. And then apply Venom, which is a yellowish green shimmer shade. Using Clover again to blend between the matte and the shimmer. At the innermost part, I'm applying Silvery, which is a very deep, kind of almost pastel-y green shimmer shade. I put on Color Rain Ivy liquid lipstick on my lips, and the look is complete.
Hi guys, so today I will bring you a video about the new BPerfect Carnival 4, the Antidote palette. So this palette is the fourth collaboration between Stacey Marie and BPerfect Cosmetics. So this palette is more of a full color story. It looks like this. So you can see that it has 45 shades, and it consists of 3 parts, and each part has 15 shades. So the first part is here. It's more of a fiery, warm tones kind of shade, and the middle part here is more of a earthy, neutral kind of shades, and then we have a green tone kind of shades. And so according to these 3 parts of the color story, I did 3 looks using the 3 parts of the palette. And from my experience, I can see that Stacey Marie is right. This palette is very different in terms of the arm swatches and the overall experience on the eyes. She mentioned in her IG stories that her palettes don't swatch well on the arm, but they do perform well on the eyes. And I can see that it is true, because you can see from the swatches, some of the yellow and the white shades don't perform that well. But even though I didn't use the white shade, but the yellow do perform very well on my eyes. I do think this is true in terms of different kinds of eyeshadow palettes, because at the end of the day, you're using the eyeshadows on your eyes, not on your arms. So it is very important to judge an eyeshadow based on the performance on the eyes, not on the arms. Overall, the shades are very pigmented and blendable, even though I feel like they are less pigmented than the previous 2 Carnival palettes. I don't have the first one, so I can't say anything about it. Perhaps it is because this palette is more for glam makeup and more for the neutral kind of makeup, but not for like the crazy rainbow type of makeup. So maybe toning down a little bit of the pigmentation works better that way. That would be a reasonable change in the formula, in my opinion. As for the shimmers, I definitely feel like the shimmers have improved a lot. The shimmers are very reflective in the lights. They are all very foiled and very creamy. I think they reflect to the light better than the previous two palettes. So overall, I prefer the color story of the previous two Carnival palettes because I'm more of a rainbow eyeshadow kind of gal. But I do think the formula of this palette is pretty good. So if you're into glam makeup and fall color story, this is a good palette to pick up. But if you're more into colorful kind of makeup, then I don't think it is necessary for you to pick this up. That will be the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button. I will see you all in the next one. Bye!